Today we're here in West Yorkshire at Cromar. These guys are conveyor and fluid management experts, and they've been doing it for over 60 years. Proper Yorkshire engineering going global. So let's go inside and find out how they're made. Ben.
Hi Tom.
How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. Welcome to Cromar.
So Cromar, what do you guys do here?
We are the UK's largest producer of Swarf Conveyors, Swarf management systems, high pressure coolant systems, anything to do with handling swarf, managing coolant. It's all designed and built here in Brickhouse, West Yorkshire.
So we're in your lobby, let's say. So is this where it all begins?
Yeah, so the starting point really is you've got sales over here. When we get all these orders, they have to get processed by administration over there, and then the design department over here. So we do the mechanical design here, and we do all the electrical design of all the equipment here in this area.
So this is where it all begins on a paperwork side. Now, just before we move on to find out where it all starts being made from a manufacturing side, talk us through this demo, because this is very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So it's sometimes difficult to explain how a conveyor works when it's finished, because you can't see any of the functions. So it's part of a Series 4 conveyor. It's a cross-sectional view. So this conveyor incorporates the hinge belt, and it also incorporates a scraper-type belt with the self-cleaning drum filter. It's a good demonstration unit to show our customers. Additionally, if you look inside the tank, we don't make our tanks from plastic, they're made from steel, but on this occasion there's a plastic plate over here so you can see the circulation system. So a lot of customers now have very demanding materials at their machining, and they create a dust or a very fine particulate. So when you get this fine particulate into the tank, it can settle, especially with cast iron. So it's important to keep it suspended in the coolant, and that gives the opportunity for the transfer pump to take it to the next stage, which would be a filtration system, remove it from the system.
It's the first time I've seen this in person, and I tell you what, I would have loved to have had this, so I didn't have to get the shovel in to get rid of all the stuff you get laying at the bottom.
That's right, yeah.
Now,
that's what it's for.
Obviously, we've seen part of a this conveyor, but we're going to see a conveyor being built through this entire tour.
Okay.
We found out where it first begins.
Yeah.
So can we move on to now where they actually start being manufactured?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So Ben, we've seen where these start when it comes to paperwork, but now let's manufacture one.
Yeah.
So where are we now?
Raw materials, sheet metal, all the raw material comes in here and then goes to the next important part, which is the press brakes, the laser machine, the processing. So where we cut the metal, where it gets shaped into the basics of a conveyor or whatever product we're making.
And everything you do here is full British made?
Yeah, everything's made in Britain here. We design, we develop, we produce. Everything is done within our own facility. We are not reliant on any subcontractors. It's all made here in Britain.
And
British made.
What sort of ISO do you have to abide by to keep it all here?
We have quality management systems. We have had ISO 9001 for over 20 years. We conform in principle to ISO 14001, and we should be getting the accreditation for ISO 14001 by the end of 2025. So we take it all very seriously. You know, we are a manufacturer, we're a British manufacturer. We're not perfect, we do make occasional mistakes, I have to say it. But what's important to us is that mistake isn't repeated. We implement the right processes to stop that mistake happening again. Every part of the manufacturer is, the production of our products is traceable. So we have a routing sheet, we have all the different areas of approval or authorization after each stage. So if there is an issue, it might be an issue with, I don't know, a new person's not familiar with how to produce a certain part. It needs a little bit more training.
I tell you what though, that honesty is refreshing.
Yeah.
Obviously we do make mistakes,
Yeah.
but as long as you've got the processes involved to make sure that one mistake doesn't happen again and you learn from it,
Yeah.
then that's sort of what we do as manufacturing.
Well, it's a reality.
Yeah.
Of a business. We are fully committed to the UK. We're looking at making some significant investments, Tom, in replacing these machines. We're looking at new metal cutting machines. We're looking for the future. It's not we're not a short-term company. We never have been. We're a family-owned business, and it will stay that way for many years.
And it's great to see you are looking quite far into the future. You're not just looking at next week. You're looking years and years in advance.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we've seen the raw material come in.
Yeah.
What happens when it gets to this stage?
Well, it goes to the laser first, so it has to be processed by the laser. Once it's been processed by the laser, look, you have some laser cut parts here. It then goes onto the press brakes where it's bent, folded. Once it's bent and folded, it'll go into a kit form. So essentially, it's like a flat pack version from IKEA, but it's in a red box. So that is a chip conveyor.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't look like one, but it is.
But then once that's done, because every part is in there,
yeah,
that's then pulled across to the next section.
Yeah, which is fabrication.
And that's when it's all built and made into a full conveyor. So,
exactly.
But I think the best thing now would be to go and have a look at fabrication and see what they're making.
Let's do it.
Let's do. Check that out.
That is a proper piece of equipment. Yeah, so this is probably not a conventional machine tool conveyor. It's a very heavy duty application. This will be underground handling large chips for many years. So basically when we build these types of products, you can't really access them. You can't pull them out of a coolant tank. They're underground. So we over-engineer them, they're overbuilt, and they're built to last. So this is replacing a conveyor we made 40 years ago.
Wow. And that's good though, that you're going back to replace your own conveyor with a new version of that conveyor.
Yeah, same drawing, everything's the same.
No way, even after 40 years.
Yeah,
So,
all the drawings, we keep all the drawings on file. I don't know how many we have, I think we're at 7,000 plus conveyors, but there's many versions, so I dare say 25,000.
well, I was just about to say, how many variants of conveyors do you actually make?
I think we've made over 25,000 different designs.
At different sizes, shapes. So
Yeah.
essentially you can build anything, you can build a conveyor
Yeah.
any size to fit whatever needs a customer brings.
We have a lot of opportunity where we make a standard conveyor for a machine tool. That customer maybe has a bar feed on it, so the standard conveyor works, but he wants to run it unmanned. What will stop the machine from running unmanned is a swarf bin. There isn't the clearance. So we might have to re-engineer that conveyor, redesign it. Everything's the same apart from the discharge height. You have more clearance, so you might go from a 1.1 metre discharge height to 1.6, 1.8 metres, and it just enables a larger bin to be installed.
But to me that is, because you've got full traceability and because everything is done by you, you can make all them little changes.
We've got all the flexibility.
I think that's the right word, flexibility.
Yeah, it is. We're a versatile, we're an agile company. Everything we make, it's for our customers. You know, we don't really use conveyors ourselves, but we want to make sure that when people buy them from us, they're like a marriage. It's not a one-off order, it's a long-term partnership. So That's how we tend to work, and then our customers have an understanding of what we can do for them, and then you always take it to the next level, Tom. And then eventually it's like, well, the market's changing, the machine tools are changing. Where do we need to be to innovate for the next generation of conveyors?
And again, it's innovating to make sure you stay with everybody else. So if you're constantly tweaking and changing, you're making sure these are working with the new machines.
Exactly. And the machines nowadays are so much, you could say they're more compact, but they're quicker, the tooling's better, the expectations from the end customer is a lot higher. So as we spoke earlier on, you buy the best machine, you buy the best automation, you've got to buy the best conveyor equipment or the coolant management system to support the package.
Well, that's always the downside. That's what people always forget. They always forget about how do we get the swarf out of the machine. It's not. They always remember, like you said, the machine, the cutting tools, the work holding, everything that's going to make that part. Yeah. But it's the bit after that which can cause you most problems.
It's easy to take cost out of the conveyor if you provide the wrong conveyor solution, and it's having the knowledge that a chip conveyor or a swarf conveyor is not just a chip conveyor. It's also a management system. It has to support and have the technology to support the automation, the CNC machine as a package. I mean, if you look at this, it's part of a conveyor, the rest of it's here.
Just look at the size of it.
So you can see the gauge of metal we're using is, well, on this guardrail, I think it's 12 millimeters.
But you're not looking for the cheapest option. You're not looking to make it cheaply as possible. You want it to last.
If you make a cheap product, at the end of the day, it's going to let the customer down, and that's not what it's about. It's about long-term reliability.
And I think, like you said, with this one going in to replace a conveyor that's been in for 40 years, that shows your dedication to your customers.
But what I find interesting, if you have a solution that's, it's a good product, but it's not the right solution, but to get the right solutions, 25% more on a machine tool purchase that maybe has been financed for 4 or 5, 6 years is nothing. It's your downtime.
Yeah.
You've got to minimise downtime. If you're cleaning out a coolant tank, you're not making profit on the machine.
Well, that's it. You're losing the time you spend making the components is obviously making the company money.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, if you're spending more time cleaning your sump out, untangling your sump because you haven't got the right sump for the right work you're doing, essentially, like you said, you're losing money on that.
Yeah, time is money.
So Ben, this is fabrications.
Yeah.
Where are we moving to next?
So once it's been fabricated, it has to go to paint. Once it's been painted, it then goes to assembly.
Right, let's go check out assembly.
Okay, cool.
So Ben, we're in assembly. First thing we see is a conveyor getting assembled. Talk us through it.
Yeah. This is part of a conveyor. It's part of a Series 4 conveyor, actually, Tom. So this is the scraper part. So this is the bottom part of the conveyor. This drives the drum filter. So you have this drum filter mechanism is self-cleaning. Typically, this is swarf management systems. So this is where you have an upgraded conveyor. It's got a self-cleaning drum filter. And what this achieves, it gets rid of swarf, no problem, but it reduces the tank maintenance. So it depends on what you're cutting. But typically, if you've got a standard conveyor in a standard tank and you're cutting aluminium or cast iron, you might have to clean it every day. If you have this kind of equipment, it might be every 6, every 12 months.
Right, okay.
These are designed and these are built to provide long-term support, unmanned running, reduce maintenance of any coolant tank, and again, effectively get rid of the swarf.
And again, this comes down to people picking the right conveyor for the right processes they've got.
And I think there's a lot more understanding, there's been a lot more education over the last few years from a lot of the machine tool companies, because they understand the importance of conveyors. If you've still got a 2-axis lathe, there's nothing wrong with a hinge conveyor.
Yeah.
But if you're buying 5-axis, you need to think, do I need a better system? you know, I've got a system over there, for example.
Well, just before we get to that, I've got to mention, Ben, the size of it.
Oh, that, yeah.
What is it?
It's an LEV system, so it's a mist extraction system for oil mist.
Okay, right, okay. I wouldn't.
It's actually quite big, isn't it?
Slightly,
Yeah.
It's a lot larger than what we normally see.
Yeah.
But I know we can't talk about it too much, but...
No, we can't.
It's
It's going on a very big machine, one of the world's leading machine tools.
But it shows what you can build here.
Yeah, so this is part of a turnkey package. So we've been approached, can you supply the Swarf management system? Yes, of course we can. And that will all be manufactured here. All the Swarf management, the chip buckets, the high pressure coolant system, the conveyor, is all designed and produced here. There are certain products though we don't make, they're specialist products. This being one of them. So this is manufactured in Germany. We're the UK dealer for this product. It's GTI Globtech, so there's GT product of a mist extraction. When we look at this kind of product, it's not a question of, oh yeah, we'll put this mist extraction on that big machine. There's an awful lot of technical expertise required to get to that, to make sure it's the right product, because it's not a low-cost product, it's got to be right from the off.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing one day when that's attached to something, but we'll talk about that another day.
I'm sure you will one day.
Now, obviously, we've talked a lot about Swarf conveyors, but that's not... You do a lot more here than just that.
Yeah.
So what are we moving on to?
Right, so a Swarf conveyor is designed to get rid of swarf from a machine. Puts it in a chip bucket, everybody's happy. But then you go to the next generation or the more complicated machines that have more demands, producing different types of swarf, they're using a lot of coolant, then you start talking swarf management. So you still have a conveyor belt, that gets rid of the chips. In here there's another conveyor belt, so there's one that runs underneath there, which is a scraper, so any of the fine particulate that gets through the belt is taken away by this bottom conveyor. It's difficult to see. You can just see the chain there.
You just see it moving through.
Yeah, so that moves in the opposite direction to the main belt.
So you're not just taking the swarf away, you're actually scraping the bottom of the tank as well to get rid of the fines.
Bottom of the conveyor. So you're still going to get a very fine particulate that goes through the filter. So if you, I don't know, is the room? That's what
I'm... So what we're moving... Oh.
So then the coolant's left the conveyor. It's gone into this semi-clean tank. Not all the coolant pumps require super clean coolant. You're through spindle coolant, you're through tool coolant, it has to be super clean. So it's gone from here, you then have a transfer pump that's pumping it to this paper band filtration system.
Nice. Yeah. Just before we move on to that, you've actually got a system as well to bring coolant back into the tanks.
Yeah, so unfortunately you always get coolant carryover in the chip bucket. We do try and design the conveyors to reduce the level of coolant that goes into the bin, but you can't entirely stop it. So
it gets hung on to the material.
It's like a ladle, sometimes a swarf, and you have a little dripping off the belt. So little Venturi system, you put it in the bin, sucks it out, returns it back to the tank.
But again, that's you looking after your customers, because my experience on being on the shop floor, when they do come to empty your swarf bins, you get charged if there's coolant in that skip.
And also we all have a responsibility to try and keep everything clean. You know, that's important. And the cleaner you can keep the bin, the cleaner the swarf is in the skip going to the scrapyard.
So what we got here?
So this is the control. So we design all this, we manufacture it all here.
Wow.
Yeah. It's complicated.
As long as it works.
But it does work, yeah.
It works.
And we know it works because we have to test it. But you have a lot of the controls here. So you have a touchscreen HMI. So your conveyor, there's a circulation pump. So actually in that tank, you have a circulation system. So that's that's keeping the...
Keeps agitating all the stuff off the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's cast iron specifically, cast iron will settle. It keeps it suspended. You have a transfer pump that will lift it and it'll pump it through this paper filtration system. You have an oil skimmer control. Maybe you don't want it running all the time. Maybe there isn't a lot of tramp oil. So, it gives the operator some easy access.
It gives them flexibility on what they need to run and what not to run. Because like you said, if you're not getting much tramp oil, then why are you running the oil skimmer constantly?
Exactly.
Again, you're wasting electricity, and we know
Exactly.
what people's thoughts on electricity are at the moment. So.
Well, you know, we use inverters to control our high pressure coolant pumps. So previous technology, you'd have a valve that would dump the pressure. So you have, let's say, a 70 bar pump. It's running at 100%, even though it's only giving you 20 bar.
Oh, so you're just wasting that extra...
That energy is being wasted.
Okay.
So we use inverters now. So you get the variable pressure functions. So that might be 10 bar, 20 bar, 30 bar, 40 bar. Also depends on the tool size, but it's intelligent. So the smaller the hole, the less the work the motor has to do. So it's always managing and maintaining that system. Of course, if it's a larger hole, the motor has to work harder. But it's about keeping your costs down. We actually figured it on using inverter technology for high pressure coolant pumps. In a year, if you're running 8-10 hour days and you're 20 bar 50% of the time, 70 bar the rest, you might save £3,000 or £4,000 a year for nothing.
Again, yeah. But does that also help with the life of the motor as well? Because if that motor's not running,
it helps with
100%,
but it also helps with the temperature of the coolant. If you're running a motor at 100% and it's dumping excess pressure back into the tank, you're adding heat to the coolant.
Oh yeah.
And maybe you do want a coolant temperature control unit. We supply those. But you don't want it running at maximum all the time, unnecessarily. You want everything to be running as it's meant to run, not over.
And the problem is, if you've got excess heat being dumped back into your coolant, even if you've got a heat management system,
it works harder.
Yeah, because that's extra heat is pumping in.
Exactly.
So if you can get rid of that, you can actually keep on top of coolant maintenance easier.
Yes. Coolant management.
Right. Well, we've seen conveyors being built. We've seen the Swarf filtration system. What would happen now once this has been fully tested? Because you test every single piece of equipment.
Once it's tested, we take pictures, we do all our sign-off checks, we save it to the works order, the sales order. It can be available to the customer if required. If not, it's on file. It gets wrapped. Once it's wrapped, fully sealed, it gets picked up and away it goes to whichever lovely country it goes to.
And talking of lovely countries, you ship to quite a few countries all around Europe and the world.
We do. Never countries that I go to on holiday though. That's the problem.
What, so you can't put your clothes in one and try and ship them out easier?
Try my best. No, we do a lot of export. We have to export. You know, that's an important part of our business. We have an office in Central Europe, so that looks after Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia. There's always potential for growth in every market that we or every territory we explore, but it's important we can support it locally. So we can't always do what we want to do because it takes time and getting the right people. But there's room for further development in Europe. But I guess we export 60% of our products into Europe from this factory.
And just lastly, before we end this, can you talk us to a bit of R&D as well? Because you're actually developing new technology for new products.
Yeah, so we go from the Swarf management systems, or even if standard conveyor machines, certainly in the UK and certain parts of Europe, they've got to be optimised. They've got to run efficiently. They've got to maximise the profit that they can get from that machine. What would stop a machine from operating properly? Swarf bin, your coolant not being right. So we've developed a system where it's not overcomplicated. It does the basics, but it does the basics very well. It tops up the coolant. It mixes the coolant. It monitors your pH level. Auto doses. It can send feedback to a central dashboard within your office, for example. So your bricks value, oil-water ratio, if you say I want 7%, you tell your operator, look, you've got to stay on top of this, 7%. They might forget. Quite often you lose water before you lose oil. So your oil concentration might be too high. So this system monitors that and it adjusts it accordingly by monitoring it. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I think we should see it before we end, because I think it would be a great piece to show.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but spare parts, stock. We have, I'm not going to tell you the value, but we have a lot of value in the stock and spare parts. So we have 5-year-old conveyors, 10-year-old conveyors. Somebody needs a spare part. They don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 weeks for a spare part. So we hold a lot of stock here for our customers. Generally, we can get it there within 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, Tom, so what I was saying on the shop floor is about this innovative product we've developed here in Yorkshire, in the UK. Fully developed here, really in line with what our customers need long term, in line with automation systems, advanced machine tools, and Wes is the chap behind it all, so I'll leave you with Wes.
Yeah, so we've designed an innovative way of monitoring the machine tool coolant. We use a level sensor to keep track of what the tank level is at. We can then add water and oil depending on if you need more oil in your system or you need more water in your system. We developed our own sensor in-house which will monitor all those parameters, pH, level and oil concentration, and it will keep your coolant at the right level.
And what advantage does this give a customer? Because obviously they can have a guy doing this. So why would you have an automation system doing it for you?
Well, for one, when you have got somebody just topping up the tank, the oil concentration will fluctuate, sometimes between 5% and 10% on manual top-ups. Ours will stay at the set point, so if you set it at 8%, it will stay at 8% all of the time. That makes your machining more consistent.
Well, Wes, thank you very much for your explanation on this. It's great to see that you've built a system that gives a customer everything they need without other things they don't need. So, Ben, how proud are you of this system?
I'm really proud. It's a great testament to the company. It's a testament to what Wes has done for the company. But if you look on here, if you look on this screen, I don't know if you can see it. One of the things, it replaces the refractometer. So where somebody's looking up at a refractometer, that's it. We replace the eye with a camera.
And the thing is, if you've got a guy manually doing it, then there's a chance he hasn't reset his refractometer right, he hasn't got it set perfectly. Now it's going to be right every time.
Or he's not doing it, Tom. This does it all automatically. This is a local station for a local machine tool. We can do larger ones that support multiple machines, but the benefit of having this local one is, if in the instance there's an issue, all your machines aren't down. It's just that one machine. So it's a good system. We're happy with it.
Well, Ben, thank you for your tour today. It's great to see that everything here is built in the UK, but not just the UK. And for me, personally, it's great to see it all been built in Yorkshire.
Hey, shake my hand. I agree with you, Tom.